Hello, my name is Michael Keneally, and this video is about the November new moon in Scorpio and the trine of Uranus, Pluto and Neptune. So the new moon of the 20th of November 2025 occurs with a lot of fraught energy that we need to know about and manage. The new moon is in the fraught energy sign of Scorpio in both Vedic astrology and Western astrology, i.e. the sidereal zodiac and the tropical zodiac. And the new moon involves Sun, Moon, Mercury and Lilith, and also the warrior neighbour Mars. But in addition to this fraught and challenging to manage new moon, there's also in the background two huge trinal energies. And it's important to hear that these two trinal energies have great potential for our healing if we can get in touch with them and find the powerful way to work with them. So the first triangle is the grand trine of Jupiter, where Jupiter is trine Sun, Moon, Mercury and Lilith in Scorpio, and Jupiter's also trine Saturn conjunct Neptune. By the way, note that all three of Jupiter, Neptune and Saturn within this grand trine are retrograde at the present. So we're being called to really complete demanded work with their energies at present. Jupiter's been retrograde since the 11th of November. Saturn is retrograde now, but coming to its station, going direct on the 28th of November. So a very demanding time for meeting Saturn karmas that affect us, each of us now. That's the first grand trine. The second triangle that's very important to know about is the very, very long running and super powerful smaller trine of planets whose energies, when and if we learn about them and if we make the effort to experience them at their highest, are so wonderful, healing and giving growth potential to each of us. This triangle is Uranus, Pluto and Neptune, where at the moment Saturn is conjunct Neptune. So it's Uranus, Pluto, Neptune. It's been in existence since August 2022, more firmly in July 2023, and it will last until July 2027. And it's got wonderful gifts. So Uranus, which is part of it, is the planet of revolution. And it's trine Pluto, the planet of empowerment potential and death and rebirth energy. And each of Uranus and Pluto are in sextile to Neptune, the planet of sensitivity and psychism, insight. And indeed, note also that just at the moment, Saturn is currently conjunct Neptune. And so Saturn is calling each of us to ground Neptune's wonderful energies. Now you can see the charts for this new moon, the charts in both Vedic and Western astrology, in the November month page of my Star Wheel Astrology website. The November page is with all the monthly astrology pages under the More drop-down in the header. And it's complete with lunation charts and ephemeris of planet positions in both Vedic and Western astrology, a real gift. So useful to be able to refer to it. Most importantly, you can see in the Western chart on my November month page it's at 28 Western or tropical Scorpio, that Sun, Moon and Mercury are with Lilith. Now Lilith is what is held down in our unconscious and our shadow. And Lilith's exactly conjunct Mercury. This is what will be activated with this new moon. And looking at the new moon's Vedic chart, well, included in its Scorpio energies is Mars, as well as Sun, Moon at 3 Scorpio, conjunct Mercury and Lilith. So this too is very much what will be activated for us to feel and manage and be affected by and successfully work with. Do see my recent video and blog post all about the Mercury-Mars conjunction in Scorpio and how dreadful it can be, including in relationships. But there's needed work to be done with it in relationships if there are anger, irritation, anxiety. You see, Mercury conjunct Mars energy can be awful, and so it needs to be lovingly recognised and worked with. A very important twist to the tale to understand this new moon is that within the sign Vedic Scorpio, it's in Anuradha Nakshatra. So Anuradha Nakshatra is one of the utterly wonderful 27 lunar zodiac signs of Vedic astrology, the nakshatras. Anuradha is totally within the Scorpio sign, and so it does have potential for anger, irritation and anxiety. Now in the blog post is the link to my video about Anuradha, telling you not only about Anuradha but the nakshatras course I wonderfully teach. So it's important to know, to understand this new moon, that typically Anuradha Nakshatra, and especially people with planets in Anuradha Nakshatra, do seek higher knowledge. And this facet will be activated by this new moon. So be aware of that. Meditate, connect with what higher knowledge this new moon's energies is offering to you to work with. Each of the nakshatras has a symbol, and Anuradha's symbol is the lotus that flowers in beauty on the surface of the water. But so important to realise, it draws that energy from its roots that are in the muck at the bottom of the pool. And so the muck in our minds and in our life can lead to the flowering of the lotus if we identify them and work with them. And it's important to know that Anuradha's nature is occult, psychic and spiritual, and those qualities will be activated by this new moon. So these factors will be big now, especially if you have planets in Anuradha Nakshatra in your natal chart. So of course this new moon could draw out upheavals, intensity, fears and stress and worry, these Anuradha qualities. So do see my video about Anuradha Nakshatra on YouTube, and the links in the blog. So basically note that here we do have potential for a lot of the fraught side of the Scorpio energy in this new moon, a lot of the Mercury-Mars stresses that are in this new moon, and they can affect us, so we need to recognise it and learn how to deal with them. But we also have to recognise that there are other fraught energies in the background. Very important. Chiron is conjunct Eris, the asteroid of strife. Chiron, our existential wound, is conjunct the asteroid of strife. It's at 23 Western Aries, so that's at 29 Vedic Pisces. In other words, deep in the Gandanta, the zone of immateriality where Vedic water sign transitions into Vedic fire sign, in this case Pisces to Aries. An energy of huge unsupportedness and huge sensitivity. Another key energy to know is that Mars is square the nodal axis in this new moon. Now, a planet that's square the nodal axis takes on a misstep nature and importance, indeed great importance. So each of us actually needs to get our Mars awareness and the handling of Mars energies right. And of course in Vedic astrology, Mars rules the sign of Scorpio where the new moon will occur. Very important to know is that Uranus, the planet of revolution, is conjunct Sedna, the asteroid of horrible energies, events. But positively, there is a grand trine. Retrograde Jupiter is trine Sun, Moon, Mercury and Lilith. And retrograde Jupiter's also trine Neptune and Saturn. There's a grand trine at the moment of this full moon. And the energy gift of this grand trine, if we can work with it and master it, actually is to grow our vision, perhaps especially awareness of death and rebirth, scorpionic energies at the time of this new moon. And at the time of this new moon, we can make a conscious effort to do that. Make a conscious effort to see what scorpionic, Mars, Mercury, for example, energies are doing to us, and the death and rebirth of Scorpio generally. Methods that would be right for each of us are manifold, but for example, around the time of this full moon, we can do a shamanic journey to improve our awareness. And if I come to realizations and commitments, I then do the Norse practice of sevir that can cement in our intentions. For many people, magical work can each day over this period help us to stand strong in our power and thrive on our road forward at the time of this new moon, and hold in bay all those negative potentials and tap into the wonderful side of scorpionic energies. We can make a wonderful effort over this time to experience the positive potential of the so long running Uranus-Pluto-Neptune triangle. Go into that deeply, realizing of course that Saturn conjuncts Neptune at this time, and Saturn is stationing and turning direct. So Saturn's really telling us to do the work to fulfill his karmic demands. So we should spend time to meditate on the energies surrounding this new moon, the scorpionic energies, the grand trine, and also the very special long-running trine. So to deal with Jupiter is to contact the divine nature of Jupiter as face of the divine. That's his highest nature. To deal with Uranus, we need to work out what is the needed positive revolution of Uranus now that could open to us at the time of this new moon, and we can work with it, commit to it, develop it. In the case of Neptune, we can do different sorts of work to acquire the needed sensitivity, the needed vision of Neptune energy. And in the case of Saturn, to work diligently and comply with retrograde Saturn's often stern demands now. And of course, to cap them all, to work with Pluto empowerment. What is the empowered you like? What daily steps can you make at the time of this new moon to come more into your full power? So, of course, this Scorpio new moon is a very positive gift, potentially, if we can handle it right and see it right, of immersion in Scorpio energy, intensity, transformation, passion, deep intuition, emotional and psychological complexity and depth, exploring up to now hidden truths, mastering up to now mysteries of life. So I hope I've managed to convey the energy matrix around this new moon and work each of us in our very different ways we consider doing at the time of this new moon. So to get a reading from me, go to my Star Wheel Astrology website, and you can join my courses there too. Also, if it is relevant to you, you can go to my Love Star Dating website. So Love Star Dating is for those on a spiritual pathway who are seeking love. And thirdly, there's my Druid Forest School website, and there you can see my wonderful Sacred West of Ireland tours, my courses on Irish and Norse spirituality, and the Irish and Norse spiritual alphabets, the Ogham or Ogham, and the runes, and much more. So, I do hope this video, although it has complex detail, can be absorbed, and each of us can identify positive pieces of work to do at the time of this new moon. Thanks very much.